has a military contract?
No, but she was like kind of.
Friends and fellow citizens, allow me to welcome you to the old Bethpage Village celebration of the 87th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. It was on this very day in the year 1776 that our forefathers, by the courageous stroke of a pen, severed the bonds binding us to European tyranny, and, guided by a succession of the greatest and most inspired leaders the world has ever known, that tiny union of 13 historic states has grown into in this short span of years to become a mighty nation. But now that our union is enthralled in the quake of battle and has felt the earth shake beneath our feet, we look towards Gettysburg and Vicksburg, where the courageous troops of the armies of our republic are currently swept into battle with the rebellious South. We hope for news of victory on these fronts and the safe return of our brothers in arms. We are also awaiting word from the telegraph office in Hempstead regarding the conflict specifically at Gettysburg. Before beginning the formal ceremonies today, may I introduce to you those dignitaries who by their presence here bring honor to our celebration. First, the Venerable Mr. Fanning, formerly Minister of the Farmingdale Circuit and Minister of our Minetto Hill Church, and currently Minister of the Smithtown Circuit, has joined us here today. The old Bethpage Village Fire Company, Old Rough and Ready, under the leadership of their chief, Mr. Weiss. The gentlemen of the Sons of Temperance, and accompanying them, the Daughters of Temperance. Mr. Noon is particularly happy with their presence here today. The soldiers of the 15th New York State Militia, under the command of Major Lennon. Mr. Lewis Rich, Town Councilman. The old Bethpage Village Brass Band, under the baton of Mr. Elbinski, to whose stirring music we march, and who will entertain you in concert after this ceremony concludes this afternoon. We would also like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Noon for the use of their shady yard this afternoon. Please imbibe appropriately at the conclusion of our ceremony. And to begin and finally, as tradition dictates, we have saved the best for last. May I present the Honorable Mayor, Timothy W. Martin, who will be entertaining our ears with an oration of the most noble eloquence. To begin the festivities, we will ask the Reverend Mr. Fanning to invoke God's blessing on our efforts here today, as well as those of our troops currently engaged in the fields of conflict. Mr. Fanning.
We thank Thee, O Lord, for the blessing of fair weather and a successful start to our day of commemoration. Let the manner in which we continue to celebrate our freedom and the manner in which we use it be pleasing to God and bring Him greater glory. Amen.
We now invite you all to rise and place your hand over your heart or render a salute if you have served or do serve in the military, as we join the old Bethpage Village Brass Band in the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Mr. Lewis Rich, Town Councilman and a member of our own Committee of Arrangements, will now read for us an excerpt from the Declaration of Independence.
In Congress, July 4th, 1776. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to the world. He has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures, for the quartering of large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assembled in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, and that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown. Huzzah!
Thank you, Mr. Rich.
Thank you.
The band will now play Hail Columbia. And now, the orator of our day, our own mayor, Mr. Timothy W. Martin. Mr. Martin?
My friends, To speak of the deeds of valor performed at Antietam or Fredericksburg, or the ongoing conflict at Gettysburg, would require a more skillful orator than he who stands before you now. Suffice it to say that the great majority, those deeds of valor were not performed by men trained in the art of war. No, they were citizen soldiers who left their homes for their country's cause and who have performed their duties in a manner to challenge the wonder and admiration of all mankind. These hosts of soldiers deserve our special thanks. Now it should at this time be the object of every public speaker to convince the people of the North of their situation. For it has been well said that the majority of a great people on a subject which they understand will never act wrong. Therefore, let me say this. The context which has been forced upon us and which we cannot escape even if we would, is one involving our personal freedoms and the freedoms of 4 million enslaved peoples. Those others who brand the war a struggle for territory, for the expansion of our lands, for the wholeness of our empire, are equally wrong in their conceit. And those who imagine it to be simply a contention for the punishment of secession, or for the authority of government, or for the sanctity of law, all lose sight of its chief significance. Important and worthy as are each and all of these ends, it should by this time be clearly and unmistakably understood by all that this is a war for our independence. It is a contest of the self-evident truths declared in that ever-memorable instrument which the fearless Hancock accepted and signed with greedy pleasure in the face of many dangers. It is to decide whether Constitution framed by Jefferson, Adams, and Madison, or the paltry document lately concocted in Montgomery, Alabama, by men who are otherwise unworthy to unloosen the latchets of our founding fathers' shoes, shall be the law of the land. The war on our part is one in which we must preserve our federal union, for if we do not become the victors, we shall become the slaves to rebellion and to disorder. And how do we avert this unthinkable consequence? By the continued unselfish enlistment of our valiant men in the Army of the North. Let us shoulder the death-dealing musket, prepare to the battlefield with measured tread and defeat once and for all our despotic foe. I thank you and bid you all a glorious fourth.
The old Bethpage Village Brass Band will now play for us America. To conclude our ceremonies here today, Reverend Mr. Fanning will now pronounce a benediction.
Dear Lord, our divine protector, bless us today as we celebrate this anniversary of our glorious Declaration of Independence, as we celebrate the smashing of the bonds of tyranny and injustice. Make us always aware, O God, that this freedom must be guarded and watched over like a most precious possession. And that's what freedom is, a most precious possession. Brave men died to give us this freedom. With your help, we will preserve it. Give us the strength and the skill to produce good crops, to reap rich harvests, and let it be, dear God, that those who reap them share generously with your church. Remind us constantly, O Lord, that rich harvests are not reaped by those who squander their time and energy in sin-filled taverns. The only harvest reaped there is the profit made by the tavern keeper. Above all, O God, let us never forget that freedom, full harvests, and all good things come to us through your generosity and mercy, and that all things must be enjoyed in your name. Amen.
We have just received word, very special word from the general store across from Mr. Layton's store, that it's very exciting, is that the Army of the Potomac has actually defeated the Army of Northern Virginia in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So I would like to, when we salute now, I would like to offer 3 cheers for the Army of the Potomac. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! And with that glorious news, our troops will honor the 87th anniversary of our independence, and now this gallant victory in Pennsylvania with a salute. We ask for your continued support of our troops in the field, as well as our President, President Lincoln. And we ask that you remember the words of Senator Daniel Webster, with liberty and union, now and forever, one and inseparable. We thank you all for coming to Old Bethpage Village Restoration. We bid you a glorious 4th. Have a wonderful day, and thank you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony. If you would like to take pictures with any of our villagers, feel free to do so. Come on over and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great day.